Starting in the 18th century, the first factory built was at Quarry Bank Mill at Stile, Wimslow, Cheshire. In the 18th century, they were powered by water. During the second half of the 19th century, they went from water power to steam power with the invention of the steam engine. Factories were being built near their source of fuel. After the Civil War, factories were moved into designated factory zones in the 1860s. In the mid to late 1850s, factories began to use steel framing to expand buildings and increase window sizes.
The factory life for people was hard and dangerous for not much pay. The factories were extremely dirty and dangerous, with low ceilings, locked windows and doors, and poor lighting in 80-degree heat. Workers risked losing limbs from loud, unguarded machines or getting serious throat or lung infections from the hot, polluted factory air. The machines needed constant attention to be fixed. They worked 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, with short breaks for meals. They were also paid very little money for their weekly work. Men got 15 shillings per week, women got 5 shillings per week, and children only got 1 shilling per week. Their wages were also lowered if the employee was late or business was bad.
How did factory conditions change? Starting in 1819, a series of factory acts were passed that improved the conditions of factory workers. In 1819, the first Factory Act limited child labor to 12 hours a day. In 1833, children under the age of 9 were no longer allowed to work, and children over 9 were limited to a maximum of 48 hours a week. In 1844, the next Factory Act limited women's labor to 12 hours a day. In 1847, child and women's labor was limited to 10 hours a day. The Factory Act of 1850 increased child and women's labor to 10.5 hours a day, but only between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Finally, in 1847, all workers were limited to 56.5 hours a week. To further improve factory life, the Combination Act was passed. This made it legal for workers to unionize or combine as a group and ask for better working conditions.